Okay, so we are live. This is my first time doing this, so if the audio is too loud, or if you can't even hear the music, let me know. So basically in this video, I'm just going to be going over some of my gesture sketches from last week's live drawing session that I did online. I'm going to take probably just these 3 sketches and just push them a little bit further. I'm probably going to go for about an hour, maybe a little bit less, depending. For anybody that does join, feel free to comment at any time. You can ask a question. I've got my phone in case anybody drops a message in the chat, so I can reply to you there. So each one of these sketches were basically about 3 minutes each, I think, 3 to 5 minutes each, done really rapidly. One at a time from the same model. So I'm probably gonna start with this one on the left. I'm just gonna, yeah, I think it's gonna go straight in. Drop the opacity. The one beneath, and I'm creating another layer on top, and I am going to refine some of the sketch. Let's see how it goes. One thing I didn't do when I was looking at the model was getting into some of these basic shapes. One of them is for the rib cage. And I'm not sure if I actually put in any of these gesture lines. I just went straight in with a few very quick shapes. So I want to try and get a few forms in of the body. So the model was leaning over a table. This feels so weird, doing a live stream. I wonder if anybody's gonna show up whilst I'm live. Don't know what's going on with the music. Let's see. Put on something from some chill ambience. That's probably too loud. Let's see how it goes. I'm not sure if I'm going to get alerted if anybody does jump in, so I'm just going to probably from time to time look over at the chat and see if there's anybody there. But if not, I'm just going to crack on. With improving these drawings that I started last Saturday night. So I don't always go about it the same way, but I've decided I want to refine get some of the features down in the face, which is something obviously I completely missed out on before. And the model's head slightly tilted. I think there may have been once years ago when I was in Brazil, and I was doing a mural painting in a bar in Maragogi, and I think that was the only time that I've ever done a live stream, and that was on Instagram, and I think it was a very brief one just to test it out. But I think I turned it into a time lapse afterwards. So I just want to get some of the features in. Sketching at a very low opacity at the moment because I haven't warmed up. Usually I like to warm up, but I've just jumped straight into this because I was figuring out actually how to do the live stream. I've got a comment. How's it going? How's it going, Yang? How are you doing? Thank you for joining. You're the first person. If you can hear me, can you hear me? If you can, say hello or say something. Yeah, this is my first time doing a live stream, and yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. Probably won't stay on for too long, but I'm basically just sketching over the live drawings that I did last weekend. So she had a very sort of relaxed, sleepy kind of expression, just chilling out. And usually I prefer, whenever I do live drawing, I usually prefer to do it purely in pencil and paper and traditional media. I find that to be the most rewarding kind of live drawing. The feel, the texture of the paper, the pencil on the paper, and the way you can move your hand and shoulder around is totally different to the way I am drawing at the moment, which isn't even on an iPad. It's using Photoshop, one of these styluses, if you can see that, and a very old Wacom tablet. So I'm probably going to go about this in a kind of haphazard manner. I'm going to dart around the drawing and just fill in bits here and there. I noticed I've got the scale off originally with a hand. So just going to bring some of that back in. So for anybody watching, I've started this live at 10 o'clock on Friday evening in England, the United Kingdom, which is probably a bit late for a lot of people. A lot of people will be out. It's Friday night. Some people will be in bed. But there's something quite relaxing and magical. I'm sure a lot of creative types know what I'm talking about when it comes to drawing and painting in the evening or at night. Just going to have a quick look on the chat, see if anything's there. Just reply to Nyang. So before I go into too much detail, I definitely want to get in some of the larger forms in with this model bigger. It was actually a long period of time where I hadn't been to live drawing. It's something that I've always done regularly, but I dropped out for a while. I think it was during the lockdowns. And I used to go often to a class very close to where I live in my city in Brighton. But I stopped doing that. I was focusing on other stuff, but I probably will go back at some point. So I'm also aware of the time, and I need to sort of go about things as quickly as I can if I want to get these at least 3 sketches in. I might just quickly run through a lot of the rough sketches I'd started earlier. In fact, yeah, I will do that, and I'll come back to this. But I've selected a few that I wanted to push a bit further, which was these 3, but there's definitely more. So I'll hide these. What else have we got? Got a few that are very, some are like 2 and 1 minute long, I think, from the model. So I had to be super, super quick. And some are very, very gestural. Standing pose. Didn't quite finish the form. This one as well. Tried to be as quick as I could. That is a warm-up. And another one. That's what I typically like to do. I like to draw a lot of these ellipse shapes and then these lines going through the ellipses. I think I might have shown that on another video. And a bunch of straight lines. So what else we got? These are the other sketches. And really not much there at all. I wonder how many seconds I was drawing for. Again, as well, the same kind of thing. I remember this being quite a good pose, but just ran out of time. These were so quick. I think that's it. Oh no, there's more. Yeah. Not sure why they're all in this left corner. Yeah, some of these very, very rough, and I think that I wasn't really too keen on them. So I've selected a few, and I think there's a couple more in here that I haven't shown. So if I just make these invisible, show you the others. Where have they gone? Maybe I've got rid of them. Oh, maybe it was these. Yeah, it was these. All good. So, yeah, I'll probably just work on these three a little bit more. We'll see how we go. See, has anybody else joined? I'm not sure. I can't see who's actually on, if there's anybody on, which is funny. Where was I? All right, found the layer I was on, back into it. So I'm going to go full screen. This is quite a tricky pose to draw because of the foreshortening. It's also quite difficult to draw, I found, as I'm trying to speak. I haven't really done that too many times before. You think I've got the hand placement a little bit off here, the left hand. So I'm going to move that in very soon. But yeah, drawing the figure for me is like definitely one of the best things. It's one of the most enjoyable. It is the most, probably the most difficult subject to draw. There's so much for you to learn constantly. But it's really enjoyable to be able to go out into the world, and you know, you can even sketch people anywhere you go pretty much, so long as you have either a sketchbook, of course, or an iPad or something like that. This is the thing with the timed poses. Sometimes it's really hard to get like the full figure in. That's what I find. Get 2 or 3 minutes, and if you're not quick enough, you can end up with half a body floating in space. And for the approach I've been going for with these drawings, I have sort of mostly been going with line with a little bit of tone. And then once I feel like I've mapped everything in, or at least some of the figure in, I've later gone in a little bit of tone. Just feel like this leg is probably a bit too wide, a bit too big. I'm just using a pencil brush for these as well. You can get some really impressive effects with digital tools, especially when you do digital painting. You can get really close to imitating the traditional media. So I've put in quite an extra bit of effort in the past year or so, well, maybe 9 months, to get back into figure drawing and life drawing again. It's definitely felt like I needed to ramp up my knowledge because I really want to be able to draw the figure and the character from imagination without having to look at a model or look at any reference and stuff. And the only way you can really do that is by building up enough knowledge and information about the figure and creating ideas of how you can simplify it and pose it however you like. This model was wearing heels for this pose. This is so strange. I actually have no idea of any of these here. It's a bit weird because it seems like I'm just talking to myself. So if anybody is there, say hello. So I'm going to quickly breeze through this. This pose and move on to the next one because what time is it? Yeah, at least 15, 20 minutes in. I also have no idea if anybody can hear the music or even hear my voice. I didn't do a test for a live stream. I just dived straight in with a brand new software. There's a very good possibility you just see me draw, not hearing a word I'm saying, which would be funny. So I'm probably going to give a little bit of what this model was actually leading on, which was a table. Or was it a table? I think it was a stool actually. Right, gonna go back, give myself a couple of minutes to go in a little bit stronger here. The contours of the face. A lot of the time when you're doing these like rapid gesture drawings, it's really easy to completely miss out any features on the face whatsoever. But it's nice if you can get a little bit of the expression in. And I've found that when I'm doing it in person in life with pencil and a sketchbook, sometimes I've gone straight in with starting with the head, even though so many artists say you shouldn't do that. But just to get a little bit in there, just a suggestion of the eyes or the direction of the eyes and the nose. Because when you're sort of rushing with a timer and you've got 2 or 3 minutes, it's very hard to get something in the final closing seconds. Because you don't know how close you are. And once you've got a few marks in on the face, you can then start moving around with doing the broader strokes around the body a lot more freely. But that's just one way of approaching it that I do sometimes, and it's probably not best to go about doing it that way, because you could end up just spending the whole time trying to sketch in the head, basically, the direction of the head, the pose of the head. Feel like her left arm is a bit too long. Let's see if I group these together, merge these 2 layers, and I'm going to shorten the length a little bit. One of the beautiful things with the digital tools is you can do stuff like this, which saves you a bit of time instead of erasing everything out. I mean, it's good to do that with traditional media, but with the digital tools, why not use them? You can just get a lasso tool and you can move different parts of your sketch or painting around quite quickly. So what else do I want to do here before I move on? I'm going to establish a bit more of the kneecap here and the quad muscles, maybe just some line, a bit more line, some of the shin bone. Make that forearm feel like it's actually placed on the stool, and the stool looks absolutely massive. Something like that. Let's go in with a slightly, ever so slightly stronger opacity. Bit more strength for the forearm, just to let you know this arm is actually in front of the other one, in case you couldn't tell. And I'm making sure to overlap these shapes. I mean, another thing I could have done is drawn in the cylinder shapes. The boxes, the cylinders, the circles, mapping out the different parts of the body. And it's important to have these overlapping forms that you get here and there. help communicate what parts of the body are in front of each other, or the other, I should say. Indicate a little bit of the ribs, a little bit of the I feel like if I zoom in, it's not exactly good to look at, so I'm going to try and stay zoomed out as much as possible. Light Wolf Red, thank you so much for commenting. Appreciate that. How are you doing? What part of the world are you from? Take it you're an artist as well. So if you weren't here from the start, I'm basically just going over quickly some of the gesture drawings that I did from a live model last Saturday. I'm just trying to make them a little bit stronger. But, yeah, this is my first time live streaming, so it's a little bit distracting. But you got to start somewhere, right? So, do I move on to the next one? I feel like she could definitely have a little bit more shin bone, little indication of the shin, the calf. Don't want to go too dark. Just checking the time. Yeah, I'm going to have to move on to the next one, even though there's loads more to do here. Just put a slightly stronger line. I mean, how many times have I said I want to move on? And it's a typical thing. You want to break away from your drawing or painting, but then you see something else you want to work on, but you've got to move on. Time's ticking. Maybe I can come back. Maybe I can come back to this. If I was very, very quickly to add a little bit of tone in here, I want to try and get some of the areas that are in shadow, just with a very light pass. And when I do lay in some of the tone and value, I'm trying to think about wrapping it around the form of the body instead of just randomly scribbling. I'm thinking about, okay, what way is the other contours moving around the shape? What is the direction of the form? And like, this is a cylinder, so a cylinder shape, a cylinder-like shape, I should say, not a cylinder. It's an arm, it's a human arm. So I tried to do that. It's quite difficult when you get into these like little small areas. But I'm just thinking, how can I like try and wrap this value, the shading around the form? Definitely easier in the larger areas. Anyway, for anybody listening, even if it's not live, if you're listening another time, any feedback is welcome, whether that's something to do with the music, something to do with the camera. If you think the camera's better off, because I'm pretty sure the camera's on. Just for that, I'm just going to reply to Light Wolf Red. If I can. Not sure if I can reply directly. Yeah, Light Wolf Red, if you're still there, I'm trying to say thank you. But I don't know how to highlight your name, so I'm just going to type it. Cool name, by the way. What inspired your name? Right, so I think I will just, because I don't know how to highlight somebody's name, if somebody drops a comment, I'm just going to say thank you. Verbally, hopefully you can hear me, because I still don't know if the audio is working. Hopefully it is. I'm going to trust that it is. So a really quick bit of tone in here. Getting some of the shadow areas beneath the rib cage and in the stomach. Trying to wrap around a little bit. Wrapping around the form. And the light was quite strong coming from the right hand side of the model. This way. But I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm just going to put in just a little bit. I do actually have a couple of, well, more than a couple. I've got a few videos lined up, and I really wanted to get one released tonight. But the thought came to me because I needed to do these drawings anyway, to touch up on them, and I thought, you know what, why not just turn it into a live stream and see what happens. No expectations. I won't have a live drawing session for a few weeks, so this was sort of the last chance to do it. And I might do it again in the future, or I might do something else. Just reduce some of that slightly. Okay, so I am definitely going to move on to the next sketch now. Let's group these, make sure everything's together. Cool. Let's call her sketch 1, even though there is another sketch 1 in my layers for some reason. Let's get the order correct. All right, so sketch 3 is over there. Sketch 3. She's sketch 2 in the middle. Like, just looking at the sketch, I feel like I definitely missed out on getting the proportions right in her legs. Definitely feel like her legs were a bit longer. And obviously there I didn't finish the left arm at all. I think it was a case again of me wanting to get something in the face, a little bit of character or expression in the face. It's always one of the most fun parts, even of figure drawing, I've found. Bringing in a little bit of the portrait. So sketch 2, I'm going to duplicate the layer so I can look back at it later. The original. And I'm going to work straight on top of this, or reduce the opacity. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to work straight on top of this. So, do I want to get some? Do you know what? First, I'm going to put in a few. I'm going to make sure a rib cage is suggested. So she is twisting a little bit, facing this way. I need to try and think how would the rib cage look. I think it would be something like that. Then her neck. So for anybody interested, I've been doing these live drawing sessions, classes online with Carl Ganas, and he's an amazing artist and teacher. Highly recommend you check out his classes and his work. Okay, so I've got a few things in place. I think I'm just going to go in and merge these two and just jump on top. Let's see, try and get everything proportionally correct. So I really want to make sure I get enough space. Like I'm trying to think here, have I got enough space with the torso? Is it long enough? I think it could be. Definitely feel like this leg isn't quite right. So I'm going to map in Is anybody there? This is definitely an unusual experience. But if anybody is there, feel free to say something or not. So I feel like probably have I got a spine in the right place? The spine is probably a little bit more to the right. Rather than there. Whenever I do these as well, I'm always like thinking to myself, there's so much of anatomy I feel like I need to go into and relearn. So This is definitely a tricky pose because it's sort of like a torso's twisting a little bit. And like this shoulder blade is very relaxed. This one is like raised, as our right arm is raised a little bit. I'm just going to quickly get some basic shapes in, and then I'm going to dive in and refine as much as I can. I said I was going to be doing this for about an hour, and we're about 50 minutes in, I think. 45 to 50 minutes. Do I have things in the right place for like the knee and the hand? It's kind of in the right place. Is this leg long enough? Possibly. Let's see, I'm going to try and give myself about 5 minutes to get this sketch to a better state than it originally was. I feel like that eyebrow is too high, the original, slightly. Looks a bit cartoon-like. That's a bit too far forward. Make sure I'm on the right layer, which is this one. I think I might have had her hairline and forehead a little bit too high originally. And probably the ear should go back a little bit further. Just kind of melancholy a look on her face. A little bit sad. So, trying to find that the spine. I'm going to get a jawline in, but not too strongly. Don't want it to appear too masculine. It's angular, but it's also like soft at the same time. And there's this twist in the shoulders and the neck, which is pretty difficult to get right, but gonna give it a go. And if anybody is watching and you're an artist, I'm assuming you're an artist, feel free to get your sketchbook out and use it as an opportunity to sketch along. You don't have to sketch what I'm sketching, but you can sketch your own thing, get your own, find some reference online. You can go to some royalty-free websites and you can get poses of models. If that's what you want to draw, you might want to draw something completely different. And sketch away. It's the Friday night chill out sketch session, but it might be morning or afternoon for you. So, I'm sure if I've got this arm long enough, it could be a little bit longer, to be honest. A little bit further down, like somewhere around here for the elbow. Make sure we get a little bit of a tricep in. Little bit of curvature in the bicep, not too much, and the forearm overlapping. Placement of the wrist and hand. If I just get the palm in, I can suggest fingers rolling off the kneecap, her kneecap. I'm not sure about the length of this torso, but it could probably be a little bit longer, to be honest. But go with it now. It's usually best to try and identify what's wrong as early as possible before you start picking up too much detail. It just makes it a lot easier. I mean, it's easier with the digital drawing because you can do what I showed before with the tool, like a lasso tool, where you can select part of a sketch and move it around, kind of thing. But it's still always going to be better or best practice to try and get the forms in the right place, the right sizes, the right proportions as early on as possible and as quickly as possible. But that all takes a lot of practice. And if you saw earlier when I was flicking through some of the sketches that were incomplete, some of them were literally just very faint outlines of the torso or the head or some other part of the body. It seemed like I only had like 10 seconds with some of it. And I am learning that it is very hard to do this kind of drawing properly and also talk and try and bring some value to this dialogue with me and the internet, and nobody there to talk to. It's kind of strange. But I suppose I'll get used to it the more that I do it. Okay, I need to move a little bit quicker. So, right, get a little bit more of this. Right, let's establish the elbow. Forearm coming down, palm of the hands. really want to rotate the canvas, if you know what I mean. I mean this. To try and get these lines in more accurately instead of drawing in multiple different directions. But for the sake of trying to keep everything in sight and looking sort of reasonably good, I'm gonna stay with this. Do I want to add anything more in the hair, or should I just leave it like this? I think I'll probably leave it quite simple. I feel like there's a lift in the palm of the hand, slightly. And she's sort of like pinching her hip a little bit. Got a little bit of the lats going on. Pinch in there. Gonna bring in some stronger lines. Actually, just gonna get a sip of water. Well, I'm almost finished. Should have filled it up. So the last of the water for the stream. All good. So I do feel like this should be slightly longer, just slightly. And possibly even a head a little bit bigger. But what I'll do is I'll just get a few more marks in with these legs, and then I'll merge the layers, and then I can increase the head and stuff after. Increase the size of the head and any other body parts that need correcting. Right, so on to the right leg and the foot. So definitely want to indicate a bit of the thigh muscle here. There's like a long swooping line. Definitely need to define that, the fingers and the hand a little bit later. Let's see, we've got the ankle bone. And you've got the thigh bone in there somewhere. Sort of directs the eye down towards that ankle bone. The outside of the ankle, anyway. And this calf is going to wrap around a little bit. Go down and out. And I should be able to get a little bit of the inside of the ball of the foot. Here and here. Indicate a toe. Maybe two toes. And that was like a flick of the foot, but onto the left leg. Need to move quick. So let's get a little bit off underneath. Did I say left leg? I meant right leg. Oh, right leg. And this calf muscle, I just feel like is that leg supporting her properly? I feel like it probably would have been better positioned a little bit more, a little straighter, but we'll go with what we've got. So yeah, I'm basically just trying to critique as well my own drawing process with the gesture drawings and stuff. But usually when I do this, it's obviously all internal, and it's a lot clearer, I'm a lot quicker when I'm not trying to think and speak. But do my best. Like I did make a previous video where I was doing a time lapse of this process, and if you go and check that out, I think it was 2 or 3 videos ago, you'll see that I definitely move a lot quicker in the correcting and drawing over my initial sketches that I did in the class from the life model when she was there. He or she, was it a she? Yeah, it was a she. Sometimes it's a male model. Little indication of the heel and the ball of the foot, and want to get a little bit of the indication of the hamstring in there, if I can. And scapula. My battery is low. We definitely need to just plug this in. That would not be good if everything just blacked out. So, all right, we're charging, we're good. So do I want to indicate a little bit of the floor and a little bit of the surface that she's resting her feet on? Sure, why not? Maybe just a couple of lines. Maybe just something very simple. Just some kind of interesting bit of furniture. Not sure what that line is. Where's that line? Doesn't matter too much. Okay. So go in and define the hand a little bit more, and then I think I'm going to enlarge the head slightly, and maybe just go over some of the lines and make some of the ones more prominent, overlapping shapes. This is a difficult one because you've got a leg pinching in with a hip and then the stomach as well. Tricky one to get right. Is that hand a little bit too big? I'm now thinking it could be. Just going to go in with some very quick indication of fingers. Maybe this one could be bent. This one out a bit more. This one needs to be a little bit longer as well. Am I going to see the thumb? Nah, don't think so. Definitely would see the pinky though. And there's a lot of little muscles, like when the arms flex like this. That arm definitely looks, hand looks too big, way too big. Gonna have to go in there and sort that out. So I'm gonna merge everything. merge all of these layers. Put them in a group. Sort this hand out because it looks a little alien, ET-like. Definitely need to scale that down. Oh, I didn't mean to get the palm, but oh well. In fact, I think the whole hand needs to be redrawn. Where does the knee end? Say it's like this. Palm of the hand. And the fingers. Something like that will do. So definitely want to strengthen some of the lines on this left leg, and I think on this shoulder blade, because this is further closer to us. This one's further away. So I want to indicate that really quick, but definitely want to, I mean, do I want to enlarge the shape of the neck as well? Probably a little bit. So let's go. Let's go here. So yeah, if I was drawing this traditionally, it would be a lot more difficult to do this, to make the correction. Is that too big? Have I just completely butchered this live drawing? That's too big. Maybe that will do. Looks a little bit better, but I am not too sure about the rest. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna create a few more darker lines on the face to bring a bit more attention to it. Really quick. Like that, and feel like I want to get rid of some of these lines in here. The body, shaded lines. Not too much. How's it looking? Let's see, it's 11:15. I'll probably put a little bit more time in anyway, just to work on that other sketch. Why not? It's Friday night. I'm having fun. I mean, I was considering working on more of the sketches, but definitely it's taken me a little bit longer than usual. I think, like I said, because of the dynamic, I don't want to repeat myself, but this unique situation of a live stream, crazy stuff. And not only that, there's a webcam on. I'm on the camera as well as, and I can't see myself. All I can see is my Photoshop screen. I think it's just me at the moment. That's fine. So, going to move on to the third sketch. Probably the final sketch. Let's see. I'm not sure about this lo-fi music as well. If you watch back, please do comment. And if you have any suggestions for future live streams, let me know. Because this is quite chilled. I mean, even though it's quite difficult for me because I've never done it before and I don't even know if it's working properly, it's still quite chilled because I'm doing what I'd be doing anyway, alone. So, yeah. Why not turn it into a video? And tomorrow I will be, hopefully, publishing a brand new video. A productivity video inspired by spring. Yesterday was the start of spring, of course, in the Northern Hemisphere, and it was an amazing day. But now we're back to normal. All right. So, just before I move on, do I want to add a little bit of tonal value in this second sketch? Tiny bit, why not? Just a little bit on another layer so I can switch it off later on. I'm already over time, so may as well. So, not going to put it completely in shadow. Just a very quick indication here and there. Where is sketch one? Just want to Just want to get rid of the light line, so it kind of looks a bit awkward. All right, moving on to this third sketch. So, how do I want to approach this one? I think I will just solidify some more of the line, get stuff in place, and probably leave it as more of a contour sketch and not put any tone in it like I did with the others. So, have I duplicated it? Not yet. I'm going to duplicate it now. And going straight on top. So, going to definitely try and figure out the spine and shoulders here, because she's in a position where she's having to support herself. I think I need to get this shoulder blade flicked up and sort of protruding up and outwards a bit, and the left shoulder blade dips in a little bit, goes in. Maybe that's too far. That's too far. Down and in as the left arm wraps around a little bit her torso. Just gonna check my phone and chat. Is anybody there? All right, cool. So, right, where was I? So, the neck muscles, there's a twist in her neck. Definitely her neck needs to be a bit thicker than what it is. Looks a bit thin. I don't want to make it don't want to make it too thick. Try and keep a nice aesthetic whilst drawing the muscles, the twists and the turns in the right place, the right placements. And then probably, excuse me, my voice is going funny. Probably right at the end, I will place a couple of the other sketches that were very unfinished and put them around the canvas, maybe just one or two or three, just for some comparison. Anyway. Overlapping the muscles and strengthening. Definitely going to have some darker line where the body is touching a surface. You've got her hand, her glutes, and her feet. Both of her feet touching the ground. So it's definitely want to make it feel like it has some gravity to it. And get some of those darker, shadowy lines underneath each form. So I've got a bit of a stretch going on here. much do I want to indicate it? I'm not entirely sure. Just going to wrap around and definitely want to indicate the elbow a little bit here. And there's like a twist, like a turn in the skin as that shoulder blade sort of like protrudes out. And then it goes into the deltoid, the shoulder, and then the tricep is going to bulge a little bit. And it's quite tricky around this area trying to work out what parts of the forearm muscle are going to protrude and go in front of the tricep and the around the elbow. So I've indicated the elbow here. The forearm is going out and in, which show a little bit of indication of the muscle as it wraps around, hitting down, right down into the palm of the hand. And I'm just going to do like an indication here of the fingers. I'm not sure if anybody's there. It's probably just still me. All good. And the temptation for me is to always just dart around different parts of the figure, the drawing that I'm working on. I mean, I think it's good to do that as a lot of the time because you're keeping in mind always the bigger picture instead of going like this and you're like, okay, I'm gonna work on the head for a while, for a minute or two, and before you know it, you've spent 20 minutes rendering features on the face and the head. Meanwhile, you've got the rest of the body that you've completely neglected. And you're going to have to go back and do something. So it's best not to do this. And now I'm already getting trapped. I'm getting locked in to the details. It's just so much fun, but you definitely just need to keep yourself in check. When you're doing digital work, you're zooming out. If you're doing traditional work, you've got the paper and the sketchbook in front of you, or the canvas, the easel. All you have to do is step backwards and you get that full view of the figure or whatever it is you're drawing and painting. But even still, I know when I've been doing life drawing and painting, it's the same kind of thing. I want to just go right in there with the hand, the face. I think there's definitely a time to do that, but when you're in the early stages. Right, something I've got wrong here. Her boob is definitely not sticking out there with the way her arm is. So I don't want to create too much of the same repeating shapes either. That's another thing I want to avoid. So let's go with a big swing line in, one out a bit, indicating some of the stomach mass poking out just a little bit. It's a very slim model. I want to indicate a little bit there of the shoulder going around the tricep. That's disappearing in space, so don't want to do it too dark. Try and create a little bit of atmospheric perspective if you can on the figure, very slightly. this knee, this leg. I mean, she's got long legs, the model, so it's a little bit unusual looking. But the difficulty now, I've got a very long stroke that I'm trying to do with this stylus for a leg, and I really want to rotate the canvas, but I'm just going to try and nail it. That'll do. Still feel like I'm going very light. Just want a quick for comparison. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move the original to the right. If I can do that. Maybe I can only do it once it's selected like this. And going to make it smaller. Put it at the side. Just so I can refer back to it. Look back and forth. If it's too distracting, yeah, it's kind of in the way, isn't it? But I can put her up here and turn it on and off later, just to refer back to it and see what we've got. So put that one above. Usually my layers are a lot more organized than they are. So I'll turn it off now. Back into this. So definitely want to nail a little bit more of getting a kneecap in place. Kneecap, and then the swing of the calf muscle, the outside, and like the calf and the hamstring are connecting here. And then there's a drop, swings back round. Then you've got the overlapping feet, which I think I'm going to have to zoom in a bit, but let's see how much I can do with me being where I am, the bigger picture. So I'm going to try and indicate the heel a little bit more. Wrap that line around the ball of the foot. Is this part called the ball of the foot? I think it is. And definitely going to indicate the big toe, and probably ever so slightly the smaller toes as well. I did actually have another light here. It looks like it's died. That's a shame. It was a cool light. Need to charge it. Never mind. So this is going to have to be, the lines on this foot going to have to be a little bit darker and more pronounced than this left foot that is ever so slightly behind, and it's actually curving away a little bit more. Definitely feel like now I need to put in a few stronger lines. The model. Around the head. Right. Going to zoom in a little bit now. Just a little bit. Is this music too loud? Definitely want to just get a few lines of the ear in. Don't need detail. Cheek in front of the nose. That will probably do. Indication of the lips. Definitely feel like the sketch could be stronger in some areas. But I'm just going to allow myself a little bit of creative freedom now. Probably going to bring in some stronger lines around the form. Actually just going to turn off the radiator that I've got next to me because it's starting to get hot. And I've run out of water. So, anyway, as I was saying, I am going to take a look and, okay, where do I want to put some stronger lines? I'll probably put a slightly darker line in here. And I think slightly in the palm of the hand here, indicate a couple of those fingers just slightly more. Strengthen this line. And it's definitely a lot of work there. Do I want to put some tone in it? I think, like I said, I'm going to leave it as a contour sketch and then check over the others. They definitely need improving as well, but let's see. Don't want to go too strong. Now, this line, it kind of doesn't really make sense. If the spine is coming down here, I should probably get rid of that. Don't think it makes sense. This could be fainter as the spine makes its way, the line of the spine makes its way up. What else do I want to do here? Okay, so let's make the palm of the hand a little bit, if I can get a bit of a twist in there, the fingers just indicate they've touched the ground. A little bit of shadow, 1, 2, 3, 4. Indicate the wrists, that bone in the wrist. definitely will put a couple of lines in for the floor, I think, just to indicate the floor a little bit. Well, a cushion-like surface that she was sitting on, resting and leaning on. So I will clean it up a little bit as well. Don't really need this line in here. Same as with the foot. And I feel like that should be connected, indicating the shoulder blade sticking out. I can't actually figure out, I don't know if I'm talking too quietly or if the music's too loud or too low. So I'm going to have to play back and review it later on and we'll see what happens. Anybody who watches, feel free to say anything. So I'll probably leave her like that. Do I want to correct these two a bit more? Definitely. Let's see. Like, I feel like I should get rid of probably quite a bit of the tone in the body in this second one because it's not really in the head, and soften some of the lines because some of them are a bit too dark. It's just a bit too. It's like there's too much going on, I think. So let's see. Group these. I'm gonna call it sketch 3 final. That's the original that I had, and I've just gone over it slightly, improved some of the lines, but still, I feel like I could definitely do a bit more. But yeah, gonna leave it for now. I feel like I've done a little bit. This one, I feel like I can get rid of some, like I said, some of the tone. So let's do that. Where is my sketch 2? Sketch 2, sketch 2, sketch 1. Sketch 1, sketch 3. Okay. So I did put that tone on another layer. If I remove it completely, I do think it looks a bit better, and I'm going to clean it up even more. So I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to merge all of the layers together in a group. Come in and just clean it up a little bit. Kind of looks like I've drawn on paper with this, the way that the texture is the background. Interesting. But it isn't, it's purely Photoshop. That's a shame. You can see that a bit of a line there where I did adjust the size of the head. I'm also going to get rid of the excess outline. Just clean it up a little bit. This is a kind of process that I would do with my real physical live drawings after the session, or sometimes on the interval, on the break, where the model has taken a short break or everybody's taken a break and you're very much still in the zone, and you can continue working a little bit on your drawings until the class resumes. And a lot of the time, what I do in these moments is try to clean up some of the sketch and even try to continue sketching maybe for another minute or two purely from memory, but you probably shouldn't do that because it's very likely you are going to make quite a few mistakes. And you can definitely overwork a sketch, a drawing, or a painting. But in terms of cleaning up, I think that's a slightly different story because you're just going around and cleaning up some of the lines, usually the graphite that's smudged around the figure. And you can just get your eraser and just make some of the lines stronger and more crisp. So yeah, I think it's looking a little bit better. Like, this is definitely too strong. Just need a light indication. I feel like this would wrap around a little bit more. And there should be some indication there of the hamstring. But she's a little bit more cleaned up. Not completely convinced with the belly area. Could probably bring that in a little bit. And yeah, it's probably best that I leave this one as it is. Going back to the first one, again, I can definitely clean up some areas and rework it. Let's say I'll give myself a few minutes to improve her slightly the best that I can. So sketch 2, I'll just say developed, call it developed, keep my layers nice and organized-ish. Now I need to find sketch 1. There we go, got sketch 1. So I make it visible, turn it back on. So, okay, definitely want to hide some of the original gesture lines and the form lines that I've got in there, because I think it's a little bit distracting, a bit confusing. Then I think it would be good to soften some of the lines and make them lighter and then some darker, just to create a little bit more depth. But let's see, because I need to go about this quickly. Okay, that's a value later. I mean, do I want to keep it? Do I want to keep the value? Sure, let's keep it, but I'm going to clean up the rest of the lines, some of them. And then after that, I will place some of the other sketches around. It's very tempting to keep just working on into the night, but it's almost, it's 1:45. Let's see. So yeah, I'm going to clean her up a little bit. Do I want to keep this music? I've just got a playlist, a random playlist in the background. I searched for chill ambience, and this is what it's given me. I think it's a bit lo-fi, is it? A bit lo-fi, but whatever, it's fine. Just all right. So let's go. Do you know what? I'm going to make it full screen, and I'm probably going to merge the whole thing. Actually, first I'm going to get rid of these guidelines that I put in, indicating the rib cage, trying to get the placement of the rib cage correct. And these lines are a bit distracting. Going to go in with a slightly stronger eraser. Zoom in, let's zoom in. Okay, do you know what? I'm going to merge all of it in one. It's just going to make it easier to chop in and add in areas. Treat it as a real sketch. The temptation when you're doing digital is to have all of these other layers going on. And it can complicate things. So I'm going to indicate a little bit of her neck. Not too much. It's very much underneath her chin. And just going to show the pec muscle just curving round, and then the bicep indication and the tricep behind it. I feel like the forearm could have been slightly more pronounced, but it should be fine. Got the wrist bone indication in there. The little finger bone, if you know what the name is. Definitely want to sort her eyes out. And I'll probably something here that I need to correct. That needs to wrap around a little bit more. Going to go a little bit stronger with the outline of her hair. So interesting hairstyle that the model had. I think she changed it actually as she was posing. Sometimes it was up. And yeah, I'm not going to do too much. Oops. Probably remove some of the shadow here. A little bit more. And I will probably leave these three as they are. So I'm just going to place a couple of the other sketches around the canvas. Some of the very unfinished ones. And just so you can see, in fact, I'm going to duplicate every single one just because I'm scaling them down, and I may want to come back to them at some point later. So I'll call that 1. This is one I could have worked into a little bit more, this standing pose. I think I'll put her over here, somewhere over there. That had potential to be worked on as well. What else we got? So yeah, I'll call that, I'll just put that 2. A little bit confusing with the numbers and the names. Let's see what else we got. Same one. Okay, the standing one. Very, very quick gesture sketch. And no, definitely don't want to include the warm my ellipses. Is there any others that I want to put around the canvas? No. This torso, let's have a look. No, there's barely anything there. And let's have another look at this one. Same again. That must have been a few seconds as well. Not much there at all. That's fine. Might leave it in. Maybe scale it down a little bit. Just gonna see if I can create an interesting composition with these sketches before I wrap up. Actually, slightly injured myself in the gym today, which is really annoying. Even when I'm sitting, I'm like getting up and getting back down. I can feel it pinch something. Doing legs. So here's another one where, yeah, she's definitely off balance. Something not right there. Like, would have gone in and definitely changed the. Probably this leg would have to come in a bit more and be a lot more rooted to the ground. Seems like it's floating a little bit there. Let's see, I'll make it a little bit smaller. And slightly more faint. Five. Is there any more? Is there any more that's worth putting on this? Let's have a look. What's this? Nah, 2 unfinished. This one I think I just got wrong in general completely. I'll scale it down. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that one. So I will hide that. Yeah, and I think that's it. So yeah, I could definitely keep going and improving these sketches, but I just wanted to work on a few briefly. Probably tomorrow I'm going to look at them and think, right, I definitely should have done this, that, and the other to them to make them better. But it's fine as it is. I feel like I should shrink the size of this pose in the bottom left. Is that the right one? Yeah, it is. Lost track of the numbers. Let's just call it 5. Place it somewhere there. So, yeah, that's it. I think I'm going to leave it. Hi, Samuel. Thank you for dropping a comment. Appreciate it. I was thinking to end this actually because I've just been working on these 3 sketches based on very, very quick gesture sketches that I did in my life drawing session, and I was just slightly working on top of them. Definitely this one needs the most work, I feel. This was a tricky one to get right, but I can definitely see. I mean, I started working on this one without any warm-up, and yeah, I just entered a live stream for the first time, so the other 2 are not bad. I think not bad, but yeah, I feel like this one here, she could definitely have some stronger lines put in. I might just do that real quick just to see how it looks before I stop the live stream. Let's see. Just to see really quick. I mean, this is one of the benefits, of course, of digital sketching. You can experiment, you can make multiple versions of your work, of your sketches, and you can try and experiment new stuff on top of them. Like, if you can do that with your real physical sketches on your sketchbook, but you risk losing what you had, and you won't be able to capture it again exactly how you did it, because some of those lines are you're so in the moment, and the pressure sensitivity and the way that you move the line, it's going to be almost impossible to replicate. But you can take that liberty when you're doing digital drawings. So it's nice to be able to switch mediums sometimes. And sometimes on this class, because it's online and not in person, I will do both. I'll do traditional and digital. But anyway, I'm talking too much. Let's see if I can make this slightly better. How dark do I want to go? Let's go with 30% opacity. I feel like this line could be a little bit stronger. Maybe this shoulder line, as it wraps around, maybe a little bit darker underneath. Coming down into the palm of the hand. Actually, what I should have done is create another layer so I could have seen it before and after. But anyway, I'll do it from this point onwards. Let's see. So I want to try and create a sense of movement. This line swooping through. Where else? Probably this left shoulder, just a little bit on the top or on the side. A little bit more on the side of the hair. Just a few marks. Just a very slight difference, and I did make these lines slightly stronger here, but I was doing it on the same layer. So I think this is it. I'll wrap it up. So yeah, this was my first ever live stream, so it was an interesting one because like I said a couple of times throughout, I'm talking and the music's playing and there's not a lot of feedback, so I don't know what's working and what isn't. Hopefully everything is working. I imagine it is. Surely somebody would have said something if they couldn't hear me talk. But I actually think I should hide this one. But yeah, it's been an interesting experience. I probably will do some live streams again. But with this kind of life drawing revision, it probably won't be for a few weeks if I do it again. But in the meantime, I've got a few videos coming up. I've got one that I briefly mentioned earlier, which is a productivity video because we've just entered the start of spring, and I'd made a winter art video in the winter. And this is a follow-up spring edition, let's just say. I felt very inspired yesterday, and I went and filmed quite a few things for the video. I'm trying to find this figure here in my sketches so I can make her invisible. I can't find it. What was her number? The missing figure. Anyway, it's fine. Yeah, so I've got that coming up. I've also got a video where I speak without a script at all, completely raw into the camera. No, I don't think I'm even using any bullet points for things that I'm saying. And I'm telling a story, more of a story about my experience as a traveling artist and things that I've learnt. And I've also got a John Singer Sargent drawing video coming up in pencil, traditional pencil and sketchbook, and a few others. So there's loads of content for me to work on in the coming days and weeks, and I'll be making more value-packed videos too, as much as I can. And always looking to improve. Hope I can bring some inspiration and value to your day as artists, and I hope you're out there sketching this weekend or painting, whatever it is, and enjoying it, having fun and being in the moment. So thank you everybody so much for watching. I'm going to end the stream now. Appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who commented, and I'll see you all in the next video.